Welcome back to the channel. It's Wadi here, and today we are talking about Apex Legends in 2024. Is it worth it to still be playing the game? Should you come back to the game, or should you start it as a beginner? So this is going to be broken up into two major parts. We're going to talk about Apex Legends as beginner, and then we're going to be talking about returning to Apex if you have played previously. And then I'm going to go through a couple of the other things. But first, let's talk about Apex Legends as a complete beginner. So if you are a complete beginner to FPS, to first-person shooters, or even just Apex in general, I think that it's going to be very, very hard to adjust to. And that's even some of the best players coming from Call of Duty coming over to Apex Legends. It's really hard to get good, and that's because there is an extremely high skill ceiling, and you can definitely tell when a player is better or worse than you. And that's something that I really love about the game, but it can be very hard to adjust to. Well, I'm going to go through why I think that is, but real quick, if you are new to the channel and you like this content, please consider dropping a like and a subscribe. It goes a long way, and I'll be pumping out a ton of videos helping you guys get better at Apex and also just some great gameplays. Anyway, why is Apex so hard? There are several reasons, but first, there are so many legends that have so many different abilities. Learning how to recognize those legends and play your own character properly to counteract other characters and also use your character effectively takes a ton of time to learn. That's one of the things. Another thing is that the gunplay, in my opinion, is really unique, and it can be hard to adjust to since the time to kill is relatively high. So that means you're in gunfights, it takes longer to kill one person, so 1v3 can be really hard. You can come from Fortnite and you can 1v3 a little bit easier because the time to kill is so high. Same in Call of Duty, it's a really fast time to kill, so you can kill people really quickly. But in Apex, it takes a long time to kill someone. So those gunfights usually take a little bit more time, and you have to be better with your aim because these guns also have more recoil than the average game. They're not going to have like Tarkov type aim or recoil where it's just crazy. It definitely has a little bit of recoil, so if you have never tried to learn recoil control, that's something that you're going to have to adjust to when you're new to the game. Another thing is that the movement is extremely fluid, and there's a high skill ceiling to the movement. That is hard to learn. You know, there's a ton of movement techniques that you can learn, so that's something that is great with the skill ceiling, but there are a lot of movement players, especially if you're on PC, so that can be extremely hard to learn how to aim and track those players. Game sense also just takes hundreds of hours. I would honestly say even like 1,000 hours to get to the point where you understand what's going on at any moment and basically really understanding the game at its core. But overall, I think Apex is an extremely satisfying game to get good at, and it's also very, very rewarding in that sense. The last thing that I want to talk about for beginner players, yes, there is a high barrier to entry skill-wise, but when it comes to content slash cosmetics slash anything like that, there is not a big pay to win aspect like there is in other games. Like, you are going to come in, you're going to be just in the same position as another player. The only difference is you are not going to have characters unlocked. There are some gun skins that may have better iron sights, but that is not really going to change your aim that much. So that's really good to note. And I honestly feel that coming in as a new player, it is a good base. Like, you don't have to pay for the battle pass, you don't have to unlock these guns and level them up, and you don't have to be been playing the game for all these years to have everything unlocked and whatnot. So it's really good to take a note of that mentally, that you are coming in and the game that I'm playing is the same game that you're playing. I'm not gonna have some attachments that you don't have. So good to know. All right, so now you understand that Apex Legends is one of the hardest games to get good at. Does that mean you should play and you should get good at the game? In my opinion, I think so, because of how rewarding getting good at the game is. Like I said, the skill ceiling is so extremely high. I think that it's a super well crafted battle royale. I think it's the best battle royale experience out, and it really provides great middle ground between, you've got like Call of Duty where anyone can come in and, you know, just have some fun, and then you've got like a PUBG where it's really intense and way too hardcore, in my opinion. I think it sits right in the middle. I also love that in Apex you can be running through the open, and there are times that you're gonna get one clipped or you're gonna get clipped in the open, but a lot of the times you can be running out in the open and you'll get shot, and you can like phase away, you can grapple away, you can bubble, you can smoke. It's not like Call of Duty where you're going to be running through an open field and immediately you get shot, I would say like a 90% chance if the other guy is not garbage, you're going to die. So that's one of my favorite things about Apex is I can run around the map and usually feel like if I started getting shot at, I wouldn't just die. I also think that Apex Legends has the highest replayability between a lot of the battle royales because of the abilities and the different characters. You can master one character and then guess what? There's 20 other characters that you can get good at. So there's so many things that you can get good at in Apex. Learning the recoil on the guns, learning how to play different legends, learning how to play different maps, learning how to play ranked, learning how to solo, learning the 1v3. I think all of these things, there's just so many things to do in Apex that is so rewarding, and that's why I think it has an extremely high replayability. You also have badges that you can earn and ranks that you can achieve, and that really feels like you're getting rewarded for the time that you're putting into the game. If you're new to the game, you might get into some lobbies that are really, really hard. If you're playing with your seasoned friends, you might just get into some crazy lobbies. But if that's happening and it's taking the fun out of the game, unfortunately, that's just the way the game is. You might just want to play solo. If I'm going to give some advice to any new players, I would just say be patient. If you want to get good at the game, it's going to take a little bit of time just because the average Apex Legends player has been putting in thousands of hours. I'll say hundreds of hours. The game's been out for 5 years, so there's plenty of players like myself who've put in thousands of hours, and they are just naturally going to be better than you because they have put in more time. That is why I am creating an ultimate beginner's guide. So if you are interested in seeing a video like that, please leave a like and also subscribe because that's going to include everything from loot management, gun recoil, just miscellaneous tips that you would have no clue about until you've been playing like hundreds of hours. You're going to find out. It's going to have all of my knowledge that I would teach a beginner's player. So that's going to be a great video. If you are interested in starting Apex Legends, please subscribe. That's going to be a great video for you. All right, if you are a returning player, the game might feel completely different to what you were used to, and that's just dependent on when you left or when you stopped playing. The biggest difference that you might notice if you took a significant break from the game is that the average skill level of the player has increased tenfold. Like the average player is honestly pretty solid right now, but the game's been out 5 years. So honestly, if you have been playing for 5 years, you should be pretty good at a game. If you've been gone for a while, there are now 20 legends, and this is completely my opinion, but a lot of the newer legends are extremely annoying to play against, namely Conduit and Catalyst, and there's been hardly any new additions to guns in the game. No new guns have been added besides, like recently we're talking about like the Volt, the Rampage, and the Nemesis, and that's like I think a 4-year span. So not very many new guns have been added, and I don't think that they plan on adding new guns anytime soon. The gun meta has changed up considerably though, with damage nerfs to some of the most popular guns, namely the R99 and the R301. But some other notable nerfs to gunplay / guns were they decreased the hipfire accuracy of the ARs, and that's like a big one. It's like bad, you'll notice. And then they reduced the hipfire of the SMGs, and it's not as bad as the ARs, but they also slowed their stray speed and helps reducing the SMG meta. But SMGs are definitely still good. In my opinion, a lot of good content has been added, but as of recent, it feels like there's been a lack of bigger content that is basically not buffs and nerfs to characters and guns and cosmetics. So basically, Respawn has slowed down on the release of maps, map changes, and there's no longer releases of legends every single season. Even heirlooms are not coming out for legend specific characters every single season, which I think is crazy. Not very many new guns are being introduced, so it feels like overall the content has slowed down and a lot of the content is being focused on cosmetics. I do think that there's going to be a new map coming out soon, a new legend coming out soon, so that's maybe something that you have to look forward to. So overall, ranked is in a good place, but there is an issue with a lot of cheaters going on, and hopefully that will be fixed, but who really knows. So overall, if you are considering coming back to Apex, I do think that it's worth a shot because there has been so much added to the game, and I do feel like it's one of the best battle royales out there. Like I said, I think it's a good middle ground between hopping on and having fun on Fortnite / Call of Duty, and then you've got the hardcore like PUBG type games. I think it's a great middle ground. It's definitely still hardcore, and there are really good players on the game, but you're not gonna kind of get catered to by the skill-based matchmaking that happens in Call of Duty or Fortnite. Like, you're not gonna be playing bots. Again, for returning players, it might be hard if you're solo queuing, but one thing to note is that current Apex, it's still just Season 0 Apex at its core. but you will notice a massive difference in the skill levels of the players that you play. There is a difference in the pace of the gunplay. There's a difference in the way abilities are used in fights. In my opinion, I feel like it's way too much. Like I said before, you're going to notice the maps are different. But yeah, just overall, the pace of the game is extremely quick if you're playing in public matches or mixtape modes. But ranked has a little bit of a slower pace, like you could expect. All right, overall, I think that you should give Apex Legends a chance if you are a beginner and if you are returning. The high skill ceiling is extremely rewarding. As a beginner player, yes, there is a high barrier to entry, but there is no pay to win entry. It's not going to be like Destiny where you are several seasons, multiple years of content behind. All you have to do is unlock legends. It's not going to be that hard, and the base legends are good to play as well. And as a returning player, you can relearn the skills and get better at aiming and everything else, and it's going to be the most rewarding battle royale that you are going to be playing in 2024, and that is my opinion. If you have another opinion, I'd love to hear your comments down below. Please leave a comment on what you think about Apex in its current state. I do think that there's a lot that I will want to see changed in the future, but at this point in time, I think that we've got a great game with some great action. I think it's the most rewarding battle royale, like I already said. Anyway, please consider leaving a like on the video if you liked it, and also consider subscribing if you're new to the channel, and I will catch you guys in the next one.